Hello, I'm Tim Rogers. You are watching the Kotaku.com review of new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. Allow me to begin with a controversial statement. 2D Mario games are terrible. Oh, sorry, I was just practicing my acting technique. I love 2D Super Mario games about as much as I love being overly critical. So on the occasion of Nintendo's release of new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, please indulge me while I perform what for me constitutes a feat of Olympic-level mental gymnastics. Nitpicking a 2D Super Mario game. So here we go. It's my game-designed video game review. 14 obnoxious annoyances I experienced whilst playing new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch. Which, by the way, full disclosure, I've played all the way through New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U, like literally 25 times in the last 5 years. If we consider them both one game, then New Super Mario Bros. U is, for the record, my second favorite 2D Mario game. And 2D Mario is, for the record, my favorite game series. So just imagine that everything I say in this video is, I'm being harsh because I love this game so much. There is not enough new stuff. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe consists of the Wii U games New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U, compressed into one handy package, now deliciously portable for the Nintendo Switch. New Super Mario Bros. U came out on the Nintendo Wii U literally 6 years ago, in November of 2012. New Super Luigi U came out 5.5 years ago, in June of 2013. These are some crusty old video games. You can buy the 2-pack containing both New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U for just $29.99 pre-owned at GameStop. Of course, that's the Wii U version. Unless you're Kotaku.com's editor-in-chief Stephen Totillo, the Wii U is not exactly portable. So let's go ahead and add a hypothetical convenience cost to this $29.99. Exactly how much is the convenience of being able to play this game on an airplane worth to you? Nintendo sent me the game before my holiday break, so I have the experience of playing it in several airports. And let me tell you, playing this game sure is better than looking at Twitter. I'm going to say it's worth $10 just to be able to not look at Twitter for an hour. In addition to portability, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe adds a new playable character, Toadette. Toadette runs faster and stops shorter than any other character. In defiance of chemistry's understanding of the nutritional value of fungus, Toadette can absorb a pink crown-like object and instantly become a humanoid, body-snatching, eldritch horrible Xerox facsimile of Princess Peach. This so-called Peachette can float gently if the player holds the jump button on the way down from a jump. If she falls into a pit, she bounces upward exactly once. She's the easier mode for newer players. Meanwhile, Nabbit, who appeared in New Super Luigi U, is now playable for the first time in New Super Mario Bros. U as well. Nabbit is designed for the least skilled of all Mario players. If Toadette is easy mode, Nabbit is baby mode. I played through the whole game and collected 100% of the star coins as Toadette because I love new experiences about as much as I love 2D Mario games. I gotta say, if she were being sold as DLC, I would have gone as high as about $10. Disclosure, I got this game for free, courtesy of Nintendo, though I am weird enough that I probably would have paid $60 for it, just so that I could have an official, widescreen, 2D HD Mario game on my Nintendo Switch. It's 60 FPS in 720p in portable mode. Also, to be perfectly honest, I genuinely love New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U. They have some of the best level designs in the Mario series history. Polygon.com called New Super Mario Bros. U the best Mario game of all time. That's totally wrong. It's still a great game though, especially when you play 2, 3, or 4-player mode. Unlike New Super Mario Bros. For Wii, in which bumping into your friends and accidentally killing them was as common as jumping onto a platform, or jumping on top of an enemy, or collecting a super mushroom. New Super Mario Bros. U's level designs are always spacious enough to accommodate 4 players. I call this party time level design. New Super Mario Bros. U is the real Mario Party. Multiplayer New Super Mario Bros. U on a big television screen is a great time. On the other hand, I tried 2-player New Super Mario Bros. U on the Nintendo Switch in portable mode, and the very first camera zoom out rendered Mario and Luigi indistinguishable from fleas. At any rate, I played almost all all of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe alone in portable mode on an uncomfortable sofa in a dark, cold, huge office building, with the sound turned off. This distance from memories of cacklingly joyful New Super Mario Bros. Party times sure put me in the perfect mood to elaborate on all of this series' flaws. In summary, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch ain't got enough new stuff. I need at least one new world and some DLC, and it would be hecka nice if that DLC was free. Is this baby's first Mario or what? As we've said, Toadette is easy mode, Nabbit is baby mode. Both of them are optional, however. If you want to play the game exactly as its level designers intended, maybe play as Mario. If you want an extra challenge, try Luigi. If you want to play as Toad, play as Toad, except he's not actually Toad, he's Yellow Toad. I don't know why he's yellow. Red Toad is busy elsewhere. However, if you're playing two players, one of you can be Mario, one of you can be Luigi, one of you can be Yellow Toad. Now, one of you has to be Nabbit or Toadette. While Toadette is at least interestingly easy to use, she's still a quote-unquote easy character. If the other three players you're playing with are jerks, they might laugh at you for being stuck with Toadette. New Super Luigi U for the Nintendo Wii U forced player 4 to play as Nabbit, though it also featured a blue Toad in addition to Yellow Toad. If only New Super Mario Bros. U for the Nintendo Switch had blue Toad in it, then 4 players of expert skill level would be able to play together without one of them having easy mode advantage. When we posted a video of this game back in December, a large number of comments cried out with this complaint. I've got to say, I agree. Nintendo should have considered this.
IMO.
Furthermore, the Super Guide is back. In case you don't know the Super Guide, it debuted in New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo Wii. If you die multiple times on the same level, it shows up to taunt you and shame you. Some say that if you jump up and hit it, Luigi will pop out and demonstrate the optimal path through a level. I, of course, have never touched it, nor should you. Every time it shows up, that means you just died enough times for a stupid video game to notice, and it's laughing at you. Leave me alone,
Reggie.
The bosses are boring. 2D Super Mario bosses are like doing paperwork. They're a formality. To use an example specifically catered to any small business owners in the audience, if playing through a world in a Super Mario game is like reading a contract complete with many perils such as consulting a lawyer, the bosses are the mechanical equivalent of initialing each page. Okay, some of them are pretty good, though like most of them are extremely dumb. It's like with an alarming majority of bosses, I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to, though, because it's boring. When I was a AAA game designer, as opposed to whatever it is I am right now, I liked to pose a thought experiment called the I Get It button. This was before Sony made a share button, so I think it was less funny then than it might be now. The thought experiment goes like this. Imagine there were a button on the controller labeled I Get It. Heck, imagine it's right where the share button is on the PlayStation 4 controller. When you press this button, the game pauses and asks you a trivia question. Like right here, it would ask, how do you kill this boss? And you have to choose one of multiple choices. Then it asks a follow-up question such as, what then? If you answer enough questions correctly, it says, okay, you win. When playtesting a level or a boss or an encounter or any tiny shred or scrap of a video game you're developing, keep the I Get It button in mind. If any isolated encounter ever makes you, the repetitious player, wish for this button, you need to fix that darn thing. In a 2D Mario game, a boss fight functions as a little tiny cartoon character formality hangout tradition callback. We're doing paperwork, yes, though we're doing paperwork with cartoon characters we know, recognize, and possibly love, yet it still feels like a formality. Bosses in 2D Mario games feel less like going to Chuck E. Cheese for my own birthday party, and more like going to Chuck E. Cheese for the birthday party of my mom's friend's son, who brags about knowing exactly what foods will kill any dog. Like, why is there no Shin Megami Tensei Persona demon conversation mechanic in Mario games? Why can't I just give Boom Boom a 1-up mushroom to make him go away? Those things are worth like 100 gold coins. Boom Boom is clearly an idiot who is susceptible to being ordered around. The Koopa underlings are obviously exploiting him and his big muscles. I feel sorry for the guy. What is up with this art direction? When New Super Mario Bros. Came out for the Nintendo DS in 2009, 2006, I remarked to a colleague that
New Super Mario Bros. Looks like a Flash game.
I did that voice because I would have said that in an office where people were literally allowed to smoke and my throat was constantly torn apart. The tides of time have tea-stained that insult. Today, in 2019, I revitalize my former venom when I say that New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe looks like an Android-exclusive edutainment app. No offense to Android-exclusive edutainment apps. Some of my best friends make Android-exclusive edutainment apps. That sounds like a throwaway line, but it's actually true. Hey guys, I know you're watching. I'll admit that when I first hated on New Super Mario Bros.' art style, I was an employee at Sony Computer Entertainment Japan, where half-heartedly hating on Nintendo products was a bit of a huge running gag in the office. I mean, for the record, we all had Nintendo DS's. We all bought New Super Mario Bros. We all probably would have preferred pixel art, though you know what? Now, almost 13 years later, the New Super Mario art style has fermented into its own thing. It looks good. It looks exactly like what kind of game these games are. Good, clean, simple, party time fun. Though every once in a while, the art's exuberance interferes with its legibility. Look at these beanstalk leaf platforms here. Notice how the light evenly shades them. The ground layer within these platforms sits exactly on their midline. You can see a faint cleft. In the sheer heat of so much running and jumping, one might honestly mistake the top of the leaf's background portion for solid mass. This tricks even the expert's eyeball repeatedly. I remember many years ago my buddy David Hellman, the artist of the backgrounds in the game Braid, describing a similar effect in the erratic sloping platforms in the game Earthworm Jim. Since then, I've referred to this phenomenon of over-arting a platform game obstacle as the Earthworm Jim effect. This effect is everywhere in New Super Mario Bros. Games. Sometimes I cannot tell where an enemy's hitbox begins and ends. The pixel perfection of ancient Marios resulted in its platform challenges possessing the balance of an Olympic sport. In New Super Mario Bros. U, sometimes my precision-hungry eyeballs cannot preconceive the survivability of crouching under enemies such as these. I applaud New Super Mario Bros. U's enthusiasm in constantly presenting me platforms which dance with all the energy of the backgrounds of a Super Mario Bros. 3 overworld. Having said that, sometimes I cannot tell just from looking at a platform where its movement arc began and where it's going to end. Sometimes within the ecosystem of a single level, two noisy platforms which appear identical orbit their respective locations with different termination angles. What I'm saying is, sometimes two platforms that look exactly the same don't do exactly the same thing, and that is unclean and unfair. Like in the case of these underwater stone statues, they rotate as you approach them, though no two of them rotate to the exact same degree. Ancient Mario games presented exclusively challenges that a hypothetical genius player could traverse on their first try. New Super Mario Bros. U's challenges do not exactly require foreknowledge of level layouts, though in their unpredictability they do require a higher level of adaptability of the hypothetical genius player. Given the exuberance of the background graphics and the enemy animations, I'm comfortable diagnosing this as an art direction problem. Clean it up, artists. Nobody likes swimming. It's like taking a bath and working out at the same time. Full disclosure, I actually love swimming and I love taking baths. I don't know, I wrote this quote-unquote joke as, some kind of character. My buddy Brent Porter was saying to me earlier today that a game made up entirely out of 2D Super Mario swimming levels could actually be pretty good. I immediately agreed. That doesn't mean they work in New Super Mario Bros. U. Perhaps the game director intends for the more slow-paced swimming levels to punctuate the stretches of kinetic bliss that comprise the game's drier challenges. Every several fast-paced jump gauntlets, as though to punish our inclination toward success, the game exiles us to a heck beneath the waves, in which we must momentarily struggle against dangers of nebulous geometry. The swimming levels are good in isolation. Some of them are even excellent. Mario level designers are some of the most angelic beings in existence. They excel with crafting challenges across all terrain, yet never do these levels in the course of a rousing sequential playthrough of a 2D Mario game not resound with a thundering buzzkill. Yoshi's too loud! Yoshi is my dog, and my best friend. His extra-long, fluttery-footed double jump is necessary to reach many optional platforms and pipes. Usually, secret goodies prerequisite for 100% completion of the precious video game game rest upon or beyond these platforms or pipes. However, every time I perform this most special of maneuvers, Yoshi screams as though in throes of simultaneous constipation and electrocution. It's pretty clear to me that he'd rather be doing literally anything else. Somebody, get Peta on the horn. We're gonna take Mario and his sick buddies all the way
Downtown.
What is this, a game about waiting for elevators? Mario games empower the player to run fast and free, to jump high and long, to kiss the sky, to kiss the clouds, and to kiss the sun. Mario games are the original parkour. So when a Mario game figuratively shrugs at you and says, "Hey, wait right there for a couple seconds, LMAO," it constitutes a denser insult than even I experienced in high school. One of the two buttons in the very first Super Mario Bros. Primarily executed a dash function. By pressing and releasing this button with skillful timing while running, the player could smoothly navigate each of the game's obstacle gauntlets, almost completely without ever stopping. Deep understanding of Mario's various acceleration and deceleration states comprises a majority portion of a skilled player's expertise. Mastery of acceleration mitigation in a Mario game tantamounts a feat of Herculean esportsism. I do not exaggerate. Congratulations, Super Mario speedrunner Grand Pooh Bear, on being signed to Red Bull Esports. I love that guy, and I love Red Bull. This video is not actually sponsored by Red Bull, though my neurologist did tell me to start drinking more caffeine because it might help my headaches. So hook me up, Red Bull. I got a pen right here, so send me a contract,
Bro.
When an obstacle or situation in a Mario game makes a player stop and wait, usually this feels like a defeat. Maybe the player wasn't moving quickly enough in the situation prior to the stoppage, throwing off the flow of the rest of the level. This makes the player feel like a rube. The invisible hand of the best level designers in video game history looms large and ghostly, slapping you until you get better at the game. However, sometimes a Mario game makes you stop simply because that's the way the level is designed and, oops, there's nothing you can do about it. At their best, these stoppages take the form of tense moments in which the player awaits a necessary platform while negotiating for geometry against an unkillable enemy. Elsewhere, a stoppage may challenge us to enjoy suffering a mechanical difficulty while awaiting the optimal alignment of our escape route. At their most uninspired, moments of strategic waiting fall into the brawler elevator category, where we stand on a slowly vertically moving platform, contending with idiots who would punish us for not paying attention. At its absolute worst, Super Mario's waiting game rots and festers deep within the philosophical core of the auto-scrolling stages. Auto-scrolling stages originated in Super Mario Bros. 3. Most of Super Mario Bros. 3's auto-scrolling stages are great. Over the next several installments in the 2D Mario series, the quality of these stages slowly diminished. In Super Mario Bros. 3, the slowest of the auto-scrolling stages always made sure to keep the player busy, usually with cannonballs and evil bullets, an endless stampede of stompable deadly obstacles. Stomp-lobstacles. In this way, slow auto-scroll stages masterfully leveraged moments of tension and explosions of release. The auto-scroll stages in new Super Mario Bros. Games simply feel like handcuffs, like they're insulting you, like they're laughing at having taken your bountiful bouncing freedom away. On the other hand, one of new Super Mario Bros. U's best levels is an auto-scrolling level, the Overworld Riddles. Every once in a while, new Super Mario Bros. U throws you a little Overworld Riddle or timing challenge. I faintly recall these causing loud, raucous yelling matches when playing new Super Mario Bros. U on a television with my great friends Doug and Julie Jones on New Year's Eve 2012. These little riddles play out as quick-time concentration match games. Remember the randomly generated path and then select a Plinko drop location. That was a The Price is Right reference. These are about as interesting as the yarn unraveling puzzle on the back of a garden variety Denny's kids menu. If you mess up, you have to fight a tiny little one-room encounter for which you are, at least, rewarded with a power-up for your inconvenience. I gotta say though, as I scrub back and forth across the world map, strip mining star coins from levels I'd blazed through earlier in a kinetic fury, every time I slap a whammy, I just wanna let my mans die. That was a press your luck reference. I kinda wish I could just give the hammer bro a one-up mushroom and he'd walk away. Then again, why are there 1-up mushrooms in this game at all? Extra lives? In this economy? If you die in multiplayer mode of a new Super Mario Bros. Game, your friends get a chance to revive you. In multiplayer mode, all players must die in order for the game to reset players to a checkpoint. This constituted a radical revision of the way Super Mario Bros. Games handle extra lives. Except New Super Mario Bros. Still has extra lives. New Super Mario Bros. U cans out extra lives like handy. Maybe they should have done with extra lives what they did with pixel art. Like, Super Mario Odyssey does just fine without extra lives. If you die, you pay some coins. I've gotta say, anyone complaining that lack of a traditional lives mechanic makes Super Mario Odyssey too easy is kind of an idiot, and not even a fun idiot. They're sort of a boring idiot. Like, if someone complains that lack of a non-traditional extra life mechanic makes a game quote-unquote too easy, what they're really doing is exposing their own insecurity. They're exposing that they require some metric to prove themselves marginally better than someone else, because they can't prove that they personally can clear the entire game without taking a single hit. Like, would a professional speedrunner complain if the game didn't have traditional extra lives? Would Red Bull Esports' Golden Boy Grand Pooh Bear complain if a Mario game didn't have extra lives? I sent Red Bull Esports' Golden Boy Grand Pooh Bear a DM on Twitter, and it turns out he literally had just had a baby. So I didn't ask him, and instead allowed him to continue hanging out with his baby. Congratulations on the baby, GPB! Like, if a level is so hard that you can't beat its second half, does it even matter if there's a checkpoint? Maybe they could remove the extra lives and revamp the checkpoint mechanic. Like, maybe an extra try at a checkpoint costs you 100 coins. If you don't have 100 coins, you have to start the whole level over. I'm not saying this is a final solution, I'm just saying it's pretty good. This way, players get to see the number of coins going up for like a million years. That would feel a lot better than seeing a 99 at the top of the screen constantly. It doesn't feel better than this, though. Personally, I try to get my lives counter to 69, and then leave it there, avoiding 1-up mushrooms and coins, like I avoid sneezing toddlers on the subway. If nothing else, wow, it sure takes a long time to respawn after you die. I mean, I never die in Mario games because I've been doing this all my life. I have nothing else. So, for the sake of science, let's see what it would look like if I did die. I'll make sure you can tell I am clearly dying on purpose. Wow. It takes 18 seething seconds and 54 button mashing frames. At 60 frames per second, that's 18.9 seconds, by the way, after the moment of impact before the player is back in the game. If you ask me, 18.9 seconds is a little bit too long by about 17.9 seconds. Hey, Shigeru Miyamoto, play Celeste. Yes, I know that Shigeru Miyamoto is not the director of New Super Mario Bros. U. I went for name recognition, okay? Also, Shigeru Miyamoto, being a member of the set, everybody should of course play Celeste. Hidden information. Super Mario Bros. Games walk the fine line between the visible and the invisible. On the one hand, when the first Super Mario Bros. Game arrived in 1985, its dedication to legibility struck the adolescence of the video game design profession like a lightning bolt. That sentence is too long. When the first Super Mario Bros. Game arrived in 1985, its dedication to legibility struck the adolescence of the video game design profession like a lightning bolt. Owned. Everything the player can see in Super Mario Bros. 1 behaves exactly the same way every time we encounter it. Some obstacles, however, begin hidden, drawing a bold line between what the player can always see and what the player sometimes has an opportunity to see. Sometimes is, of course, both the professional statistician and the master game designer's favorite word. The piranha plant is the perfect example. Sometimes a piranha plant lives inside a pipe. In this case, it pops up out of the pipe as Mario approaches, possibly biting him, possibly killing him. Sometimes a pipe lacks a piranha plant. A single encounter with a piranha plant plants wariness into the player's method of approach to all successive pipe encounters. On the other hand, World 1-1 of the first Super Mario Bros. Game also contains a hidden 1-up mushroom that appears out of nowhere if the upward arc of a player's jump intersects what at first feels like a random location in the air. This might not happen until the 10th or 11th time a new player replays this stage. Maybe a neighbor kid has to show this to you before you start doing it yourself. Whatever your introduction to it, this surprise hidden object massages a strange compulsive mental location, one whose deepest dream begs the very sufferer to probe every space and poke every place. Super Mario games do never disappoint this compulsion. Super Mario's worlds abound in invisible coin blocks. The placement of these hidden pleasures requires delicate precision on the part of the level designer. In ancient times, these blocks lurked few and cryptic. Today, they hide in more gregarious frequency. Here in New Super Mario Bros. U, note the presence of a hidden fire flower alongside the door of every world's boss. At this point, why even hide the power-up? Video games often lie, and loudly. Lying is in fact their strongest power. Nothing ignites the imagination like a shrill fabrication. However, not all lies are so dishonest as this little fiery flower. As toes approach the line between dishonesty and disingenuity, the level designer begins to take quiet liberties. We can walk through some walls in New Super Mario Bros. U, finding golden coins within. Usually, we can see either an interruption in these walls or intuit the indication of surrounding obstacles. Eventually, as we progress through the game, pass-throughable walls offer no visible symptom. The level designer has ventured beyond the pale in their responsible adult-guardian relationship with the player. I'm not afraid of the dark, I just don't like it. Now the level designers have, via the baby steps of history, acquired all the tools necessary for justifying their decision to turn out the lights. I hate levels in video games where you're in the dark. The only game that comes even remotely close to getting darkness right is The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. As fate would have it, it was once my full-time salaried job to prototype concepts for making darkness quote-unquote fun in a post-Gears of War 1, pre-Gears of War 2, Unreal Engine 3 AAA third-person shooter. I devoted 2 sleepless months to this task. Mostly, I just copied The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I was like, what if there were lamp objects you had to interact with during gunfights? You can only see them faintly in the darkness. If you light them up via a mildly time-consuming close-range action, it paralyzes nearby enemies for a few seconds before they run away to a darker place. It turns out that was too tricky to balance. What ended up in the game was some half-hearted version of Assassin's Creed's synchronization towers. Somebody was like, what if map fog was darkness? And somebody else was like, that fulfills our contract obligation. They call them video games for a reason. You have to be able to see something on the screen. Therefore, you should not set video game levels in dark places, unless you definitely know what you're doing, or you're making a horror game. In the year 2019, on the Nintendo Switch, I have another reason to hate dark levels. The Nintendo Switch's screen is so glossy that if I'm playing a dark area of New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe in portable mode on my commute home, the subway lights are so bright that I can see my reflection in the screen. The last thing I want a video game to give me is the experience of looking myself in the eye after a long, actually exhausting day of literally playing Super Mario Bros. For a living at age 39. Heed my words. Gravity decrees that the human face look worse and worse in a dark, low-angled reflection as one ages. I mean that literally. I also mean that figuratively. What I'm driving at is, ghost houses suck. Ghost houses first arrived in the Super Mario series installment Super Mario World in 1990. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to point it out because it's not in my script, so I'm going to say it out loud and off the cuff that yes, boos did make their first appearance in Super Mario Bros. 3 in 1988, though they always appeared within the confines of Boom Boom mini fortresses, which never do not follow the rules of logic, so you definitely don't need to make that comment. I'm going to leave this part out of the text that goes on the website, Kotaku.com, because I want to see someone make a comment about it, because then I'll know they haven't watched the video. Back in 1990, Ghost Houses showed us a plethora of playful possibilities for platform game levels where the rules broke themselves, and logic didn't do anybody any good. Today, if we look back at the first Ghost Houses in history, we see what we might call proto-puzzle platform level design. I place emphasis on the proto, because New Super Mario Bros.'s Ghost Houses as puzzle platform stages are simply no good at all by the standards of today's critics who have played games like Braid or Trine. Let me put it another way. If the Ghost Houses are your favorite levels of any Super Mario game, you are 10,000% a narc. Mario games are at their best when Mario is running and jumping. Mario games are at their most mediocre when Mario mistimes his approach to an elevator platform and has to stand around waiting for it to come back down, without even a single enemy to keep him company. Super Mario games' best levels are the ones where you read every level object as it feeds onto the screen, like a player piano roll, giving unto your fingers the delight of a ragtime virtuoso. Super Mario games' worst levels are the ones where nothing makes sense. Ghost Houses do not make sense. A good Mario level is like, run just quickly enough, jump with just enough grace, dodge this enemy, duck under this enemy, run off the ledge, and land perfectly on this platform, just as it slides into place. Ghost Houses are like, lol, that door was actually a coin. I hate it. Let me give you a little inside baseball about the composition of this review. I played all the way through the game, noting my grievances as I did so. Then, I boiled the list of grievances down to 14 bullet points. Then, I watched a 100% playthrough of the game on 2x speed, taking notes on which of my grievances came up in which levels. At the end of my viewing of the full game, I had composed a list of levels to play for video capture for my video. Then, I wrote this script. Ghost Houses show up in my notes as convenient perpetrators for almost every section on this list. Some of them feature swimming in the dark. Most of them include platforms, obstacles, or enemies of visually nebulous collision geometry. One might defend the Ghost Houses by saying they, quote, break up the tedium, unquote, of the running and jumping levels, though that's where I would argue that putting the game down and doing something else also breaks up the quote-unquote tedium of the running and jumping levels. Did not Nintendo, after all, pioneer the feature wherein a game intrudes to tell the player they should take a break? For Mario, the tedium is the message. Running and jumping is not tedious. It is what Mario is good at. Ghost Houses are not what Mario is good at. If I wanted to play a Ghost House, I would play Limbo again. I hate Limbo, by the way. Spoilers. The child has been dead the whole time. At the end of this exercise, I've come away thinking two things. First, that the childish nonsense of Ghost Houses, by virtue of its contrast with the rest of the surrounding games, stands as a richer-than-anything affirmation of the prowess of Super Mario's level designers at producing straightforward gauntlets of excellent kinetic joy. Second, that Super Mario Maker's very existence is almost definitely Nintendo acknowledging that they don't know how to make Mario into a puzzle platformer, that the idea intrigues them, and that they'd love to see millions of other people try and succeed. Course? Clear? Excuse me? Whatever happened to calling them levels or stages? Actually, now that I think about it, the original Super Mario Bros. Doesn't even call them levels. It's just numeral dash numeral. Does course clear mean that these levels are obstacle courses like something you'd encounter on a game show such as American Gladiators? I was under the impression that this was the legend of a weird man and his bizarre friends undertaking a struggling, adventurous journey to slam evil, not some weird Brazilian children's television show about teamwork and real cash prizes. I guess nobody's gonna notice this in the text because there's not an accent mark on the Brazilian currency real. That was a joke. Real cash, real. It's spelled R-E-A-L. Nobody's gonna get that unless they watch this video. It's a little bonus for the video watchers. Keep watching my videos, everybody, please. I've always been on board with the hypothesis that Super Mario Bros. 3 is actually a stage play, though New Super Mario Bros. Being a game show might be a little too much, even for me. No, Bowsette! When Nintendo fans saw the first trailer for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, we freaked the heck out out upon our first glimpse of the Super Crown. This tiny item could turn Toadette into a Princess Peach Toad-person hybrid. Between ponderings of the true nature of humanity, our terrified imaginations found solace in the humorous idea that anyone could put on this crown and become a humanoid princess, even Bowser. Thus, Bowsette was born, indisputably the biggest meme of 2018. Despite the press's begs, Nintendo refused to comment on quote-unquote internet posts. As the game's release impended, the official website for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe described the Super Crown as just for Toadette. Their blurb included the words,
"Sorry, Luigi."
At any rate, within the game itself, the Super Crown does not even appear unless Toadette is in play. And in a multiplayer game, only Toadette can pick it up. It shows up about as commonly as the squirrel acorn. Seeing as you cannot play as Bowser, the game offers the player no scientific avenue to test the theory of Bowsette. In summary, Nintendo didn't have to say anything. Just let people live.
Nintendo.
And that's all I got. Should you buy New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch? Well, if you never played New Super Mario Bros. U for the Nintendo Wii U, or if you want to experience it again with friends, or Toadette, maybe it's worth it to you. If you absolutely require an official 2D Mario game on your Nintendo Switch, here it is,
Big boy.
If you're just looking for a platform game and you've never played either this or Celeste, get Celeste. It's $20 and about 10 times as good as this. As I said at the beginning of this review, even if Nintendo had not sent me this game for free, I probably would have paid $60 for it anyway, because I'm an idiot. Then, after 100%ing the game in the dark in a few hours, I would have immediately started wondering why Nintendo doesn't make a new Super Mario Bros. The original New Super Mario Bros. Literally came out in 2006. Is 12 years old not too old to still be called new? I've heard several parents call a 4-year-old child their baby. A 12-year-old, though? Come on,
Pal.
I propose that Nintendo make a new Super Mario Bros. With a new graphical style, a new joie de vivre, and even a new je ne sais quoi. Maybe bring back that hard-edged crayon look of Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Maybe make Mario out of yarn. No, wait, do not make Mario out of yarn. Maybe be bold and drop the super. The super has not been relevant since it was first used to indicate a difference from regular Mario Bros. Will somebody please get this man a new adjective? How about Ultra Mario Brothers? Extreme Mario Brothers? Actually, in the spirit of inclusivity, let's go with Wonderful Mario Buddies. This could even be the perfect opportunity to forge a new musical direction for the series as well. Personally, I'm partial to classical guitar covers of Super Mario Bros. 2 tracks. I'm thinking a little bit of a flat-out Django Reinhardt style mixed with some ragtime piano. Oh wait, I just remembered that I forgot to make fun of the music. It must have slipped my mind because I played this entire game in 4 airport chairs, 2 airplanes, a bed, a hotel room, and a sofa in this office, always with the sound off. If memory serves, and I believe it does, the music in the new Super Mario Bros. Games is better suited to playing out of a Bluetooth speaker inside of a toilet at Teletubby headquarters. If I had to suggest a better soundtrack to go with these graphics, I'd choose something a little more like this. I was born stupid. However, I will not die hungry. Video games forever, Kotaku.com.